Welcome all to our special look at rare titles you can obtain for your PS4. These aren't your run-of-the-mill 105,000th copies of games. These are limited and range between 1,980 to 8,000 physical copies at the most. The appeal of physical media and rarity has skyrocketed, and what better way to test this theory than to jump in with both feet and open a company solely based on these concepts. There are no reprints, and the majority of their games will have small print runs, so it's a winning combination immediately after a game is released. Founded in 2015, Douglas Bogart and Josh Fairhurst unleashed a concept that most collectors have no power to resist. As a test starting on only the odd numbers, the PS Vita released Breach and Clear as the first title, and subsequently following up on the PS4 with the evens, number 2 was Saturday Morning RPG. There was an idea born here that Baby Jesus might even have to compete with, because the model is brilliant. As a ploy to get developers on board, Limited Run incurs all cost for a game title's print run. The developer is then charged with a fee similar to that of the distributor, and when the games are ready to be sold, they are only sold online through mail order from the specific Limited Run website, thus higher revenue for the developers. That said, the future looks lucrative for the company, and different platforms like Nintendo will most likely see these titles come trickling in. My advice: get them as they are released and pay significantly less, because it is a guarantee that they will rise in price later. Now, let's review our first 10 titles on PS4. Number 2, Saturday Morning RPG. This is your answer to snorting a line of 80s nostalgia all over again. What better name than Marty for your main character? Anybody have a DeLorean around here? Battle-focused, you'll embark upon a most excellent adventure, but I do recommend playing it in spurts, or between spurts if that's your thing. It's 16-bit gone 3D wild without the gratuitous chest flashes you would usually get from drunken adolescents. The game calls upon your remembrance of your childhood if you are still in your 30s, and at the price point this game demands, you better have a better job than McDonald's to acquire it. Number 4, Oddworld, Abes Oddysee, new and tasty. Call the construction crew, because this just isn't a remaster. Abes Oddysee from back in 1997 has been entirely redone, and as Princess Jasmine once said, is a whole new world. This is easily my favorite in our first 10 limited run installments. It's sort of like Rayman gone Schmeagle because of its overall dark tone and its side-scrolling progression. The graphics are now PS4 worthy and complement the atmosphere that was originally intended. The only hang-up at this point is the godforsaken price point of close to $200 for a sealed copy. But if you get any of these titles, this one is worth the meat. So chew on this before tasting the others. Number 6, Futuridium X. This is like a cross between Star Fox and Zaxxon, and is just as difficult. Gameplay reminds me a little of the original Star Wars arcade as you fly through the trenches of the Death Star, waiting to launch your proton torpedoes into the exhaust port. Only here, it's a core you're looking for after cleaning up the level from blue orbs. It's unfortunately not as memorable as the 3 titles it reminds me of, but for those hardcore collectors, it's a necessary evil. Number 8, Xenodrifter. Ship damage? Need a new warp crystal? Well then Xenodrifter knows where you can find it, and they hide it from you like an annoying sibling would do. Now, I'm a fan of 8-bit, but here it is turned to 8 shit because we have a game that borrows from other great ideas like Metroid and still doesn't pay off. Some good scattered ideas like foreground and background level access, but truly there is little to no payoff when it is said and done. For those of you who are enamored by the Red Stormtrooper, the lack of boss-level originality may not bother you too much when a simple color change can represent an entirely new conflict. I should have let Xenodrifter do just that and drift away into the cold dark reaches of space, but because I care about my fans, I pressed on, trying to find that damn warp crystal. You're welcome. Number 10, Octodad, Dadliest Catch. My question is, why isn't there anyone filming this? Oh yeah, perfectly normal gait, maybe if you're one of the War of the Worlds creatures, that is. I guess I just find it a little creepy that he's married to a human. Whatever tickles your tentacle, I guess. So, about the game. They were focused on comedy and quirkiness, which they nailed on both. Gameplay is moderately fun, and I feel like Jake or Finn should have made an appearance to further the comedy. The game does mix up the challenges equally. Unlike Octodad's Land Legs, your journey is a short one, however. It is roughly a 2-hour play that leaves you wanting more. I still don't know how anyone isn't privy to your identity as a flailing cerebral palsy victim. Maybe they're just trying to be nice. Number 12, Lost Sea. Retitled Joseph Smith's Bizarre Bermuda Triangle Adventure. Here you set out to obtain tablets, and yes, they are golden, so I couldn't help but rename the game. In any case, they are needed for island hopping and boss-seeking progression. The best part about Joe's Bizarre Adventure is the versatility in enemies you encounter. Each island has a multitude of diverse monsters with specific movesets. The worst part of the game is not having solid points of reference as to where you've already been, and this can get old fast. Maybe that's what the Losts in the original title is referring to. It adds to the frustration that death takes you back to the beginning, so unless you are like a ninja, you will be island hopping like a tourist. After the dust settles, it reminds me slightly of Fat Princess gameplay, but missing the 2 angels I expected to find to guide the way. Number 14, Breach and Clear Deadline. I was banking on a sequel to the first release, but instead I got a spin-off. Well, I have a flip-off, because although this one has its perks, it also has its hang-ups. I like the realistic strategy aspect here, but did we really need zombies? Call me old-fashioned, but I like a new and vibrant idea now and then, especially when it's a rare title. It is a necessity you get originality, because I know I don't like dropping $40 on mediocrity.
Consider it done.
Number 16, Rainbow Moon. Retro RPG grinder with cutesy name. Can I end the review now? Okay, fine, I'll elaborate a bit more. I guess since we know what to expect, we have to wonder, is it fun? I would tell you, if you are a fan of the grind and leveling up, then yes, it is a fresh enough game to warrant a play. Although no cousin to Sailor Moon in popularity, we have a very customizable game that is worth the cash with near 100 hours of gameplay. Let me ask you this, however. If you collect and play like I do, is there feasible time to complete it? I ask because I myself lean toward collecting a title like this more so than getting it to play. I mean, we are talking about a game that only has 3,000 physical copies, so I leave it up to you, even though I do both. Number 18, Dragon Fantasy: The Black Tome of Ice. The world in which you play looks like it was lifted from a retro Final Fantasy title, but your movement through it is much faster. Being able to see your enemies before they mug you is also welcomed, but aside from the good choices in gaming, there are 1,000 buggy areas to speak of. Frame rate drops, freezing, and overlay problems. Bosses are fun to vanquish and generally well thought out. I also wish I had some Iron Maiden tunes blistering in the background while I throw down, but it's a title I don't see running to the hills to buy. Number 20, One-Way Heroics. More like Rogue One-Way Heroics, you take to the digital map and set out to do the king's biddings. A vile demon lord is taking away your precious screen, and you must follow a path, a busy path might I add, to thwart his presence. I warn whoever takes this on that it is an intricate weaving of strategy, order placement, and level up. Definitely not for the JRPG faint of heart player. I end my first set of limited run game reviews now, but I promise to return with all of these series. So if you like my reviews, the time has come to subscribe, which fuels me to release them faster. Why not throw a like on the video also if you happen to enjoy Rarity? This is G1 Toys saying thank you and be safe with your limited funds for limited games.